We've been friends for such a long time, Ben. I'm sure you understand how I feel about it.
Of course I understand it.
I guess I'm just sentimental about the old place. What is it, Ben?
Something familiar about that man over there.
And besides, I don't really need the money.
Of course.
Well, what time is the next stage?
Sacramento stage in about an hour.
You sure there's nothing sooner?
No, mister, that's it. Emily, excuse me. That man, I'm sure I know him.
Give me a ticket on that Sacramento stage, please.
Excuse me, sir, but... It is Frank Medford, isn't it?
I don't believe that I... Ben Cartwright.
Frank, doggone it. It's good to see you.
I didn't know you were in this part of the country.
Oh, I live here. Emily, I want you to meet Frank Medford, the bravest, finest man I ever knew.
Oh, come on, Ben.
Oh, it's true. It's true. This is Miss Emily Colfax.
A pleasure, Miss Colfax.
How do you do?
During the wild days of my misspent youth, Frank and I conquered Nicaragua.
The two of you?
Well, there were a few hundred others along.
Well, we didn't need them. At least he didn't need them.
Well, I have to be getting home. Will you be in town long, Mr. Medford?
Colonel Medford, ma'am. I don't know. My schedule is rather rigid. Long enough to have the pleasure again, I hope.
Perhaps. It's been very nice seeing you. Goodbye, Ben.
Oh, bye, Emily. Oh, what are you doing in Virginia City?
Well, I'm just passing through, Ben. I'm on my way to Sacramento.
Well, you're going to have to spend a few days at my place.
I have business.
Look, after all these years, you're not going to get away as easily as all that.
Well,
no, it's settled, Frank. It's settled. It's all settled. Now, come on.
Here, let me take that.
Run a step, Frank.
You never could keep step, Cartwright.
Hey, hip, two. Hey, hip, two.
There were only 6 good-looking girls in that whole village. And there were 70 of us, remember? Yeah. Well, I went into the one and only cantina, and there was Ben Cartwright with 4 of those girls all to himself. Now, what makes that feat even more remarkable is the fact that at that time, your father could not speak one word of Spanish.
Come on, Pa, how'd you do it?
Oh, the only thing I remember is that afternoon in the Plaza Royale. We'd just beaten off the troops, and there were, I don't know, 6 of us to keep some sort of order in the plaza. And then they attacked again. Oh, maybe 100 of them charging down the street. The thing I do remember is Frank standing all alone in the middle of that plaza, bullets kicking up all around him, cigars stuck in his teeth, lighting grenades and tossing them as fast as he could. He broke up that first charge single-handed. He'd have killed every one of us. Frank, I think that's the bravest thing I ever saw. They should have given you a medal for that.
Well, they did after you left. That was when I was promoted to colonel.
After all, it's the least I could do for saving my pa's life.
Oh, Hoss!
Oh, hi, Paul. Didn't know we had company.
Someone here I want you to meet. Now, remember me telling you once my ship was laid up, and I heard there was a little excitement down in Nicaragua?
You ain't figured on going back?
Well, possibly. Well, this is the fellow that talked me into going there years ago. Colonel Frank Medford, my son Eric, better known as Hoss.
I'm pleased to meet you, Hoss.
Thank you, sir. Pleased to meet you, Colonel. My Paul's had a lot of good things to say about you. Paul, have you heard from Adam?
Oh, yeah, I had a telegram. I think he's going to make the deal.
Hot Dogs.
Then tomorrow, I'll go into town to see about the land. A little business deal we're working on, Frank.
Little. We pull it off, it'll be about the biggest thing that's ever happened around here.
Isn't it wonderful to be young? When you're young, every deal is the biggest.
Yes, I remember. You know, Ben, I often wondered how you made out after we said goodbye in Nicaragua. I see now I had no reason to worry about you.
Well, I've no complaints, Frank.
From all appearances, you're a man of wealth.
I have my 3 sons. They're my wealth. What about yourself? I always figured you'd wind up at least a general.
Well, soldiers of fortune, Ben, aren't really much in demand. So I went into commerce. And, well, I never married. I don't know, too busy making money, I guess.
I've seen it happen. Oh, you're here on business, then?
Yes, you might say that. I'm a director for the Haverford Company. They deal in farming and ranching equipment, you know.
Yes, and I do know indeed. Big company. I thought their operations were back east.
We're expanding. That's why I'm here. I'm going to open up these western states of yours as new territory.
I can get you all the business you want right here in Virginia City. Introduce you to all the right people.
That wouldn't be necessary, Ben.
I insist.
But, Ben,
No arguments.
It was nice of you to drop by, Emily.
My brother and I have been wondering why you turned down Ben Cartwright's offer for your land.
Oh, it's out of sentiment, I suppose. It was my father's ranch, and I just keep hoping that someday I'll be able to put it to the proper use.
Oh, Miss Emily. Frank, this is Asa and Will Flanders, one of my oldest and best friends, Colonel Frank Metford. And, of course, you know Miss Emily.
Yes, I do.
Any friend of Ben's always welcome here.
Pleasure, sir.
How are
do
you,
do?
sir?
Nice to meet you.
Colonel, this is a surprise. I thought you might have left town.
Oh, I talked him out of that. As a matter of fact, he'll be here for a few more days, whether he likes it or not. I just thought I'd introduce the Colonel to some of the town's influential citizens.
You're from the East, Colonel?
Yes, New York and Philadelphia, mostly. I'm out here now trying to get the feel of this area.
Anything specific in mind?
I'd rather not divulge that at the moment, gentlemen. However, confidentially, don't be surprised if some big Eastern money moves here soon.
Really?
Yes, as a matter of fact, if things work out as I feel they will, the sky may be the limit.
Well, this all sounds very mysterious and important.
Well, I know that you gentlemen have business to discuss, so, Ben, if you have any other stops in mind.
Well, Frank, I need a few minutes with Will and Asa, but I thought we'd have lunch.
Fine.
I have to be going, too. Goodbye again, Colonel.
Miss Colfax.
Oh, Emily, why don't you have lunch with us? Frank, suppose you take Miss Emily to the hotel, and I'll join you in a few minutes, if you're free.
I would be honored, Miss Colfax.
If I won't be keeping you from anything.
Not at all. Well, gentlemen, a pleasure to meet you.
Colonel?
Well, what's the answer to my offer?
Ben, we haven't quite made up our minds yet.
Well, I don't think you'll get a better deal. You've been trying to sell Alder Valley for over a year without any takers.
Well, that's just it. All of a sudden, you want to make a fast deal. Why? You holding something back on us, Ben?
Asa, I'll tell you exactly why I want Alder Valley. Right at this very moment, my son Adam is trying to buy the whole Crow-Track brand.
They're selling out?
Yes, they are. And that means about 3,000 head of cattle. Now, Adam can't close the deal until I'm assured of grazing land.
You don't have enough grazing land on the Ponderosa?
Not with an additional herd of that size. Now, gentlemen, I really do need an answer today, one way or another.
It sounds fine to me, Ben.
Good.
How about it, Asa?
I think I'd like to talk some more.
Well, all right. I'll be having lunch. You know where I'll be. Thank you.
Bye, Ben.
You ruined the whole deal. I just think he's up to something.
I don't care if he is. We're getting our money, aren't we? I'm going to take the deal.
You mark my words. You'll see that I'm right.
You didn't.
I did. Rode right into the president's ball on a white mule. And won my bet with Commodore Vanderbilt.
Well, what did they do?
The president had me thrown out bodily.
You deserved it.
I agree. What hurts, though, is that he still hasn't given me back my white mule.
Oh, now you are exaggerating.
Well, lovely ladies always inspire me to my best efforts. Now, if you were to walk into Rector's or Delmonico's, I guarantee you'd turn every head.
You do exaggerate.
No. Not one little bit.
If you'd like to come in, I'll have Martha make some refreshments.
Well, thank you, Miss Emily, but I do have some business to attend to.
I've enjoyed this afternoon more than you can imagine.
Oh, but I can imagine. I know how much I have enjoyed it.
Good day, Colonel.
Good day, Miss Emily.
Well, I waited dinner for you, Miss Emily.
Oh, I'm sorry, Martha. I was detained at lunch by a gentleman.
A gentleman, Miss Emily?
Yes, a fine gentleman from the East. Oh, now, Martha, don't look so shocked. He's a very dear friend of Ben Cartwright's. I think he may come calling.
Well, I think that would be very nice.
Do you? I wonder.
Miss Emily, 8 years is too long to sorrow over a young man who died. Now, when this gentleman comes calling, you be ready for him. That's what I say.
All right, Martha. He is a very exciting gentleman. And it would be fun again.
Clerk.
Yes, sir.
How much is that ticket to Sacramento?
$7.50.
I don't seem to have that much on me. How far can I go for $2?
Nowhere I know of. Mister, looks like you're stuck here for a little bit.
We can forget about this patent reaper of yours.
Very high profit item, Mr. Austin.
I can't store nothing that size. Same goes for these gang harrows and cultivators.
But they move very fast, sir. You might not even have time to uncrate them.
You drummers, you're all the same. You'd lie to your own mothers. Look, mister, the most I can see my way clear to taking on be one of them plows.
One plow? Out of all that I've shown you?
One plow. That one, right there.
I thought you were a man of vision and enterprise, Mr. Austin.
Take it or leave it, mister.
I will take it. Now, let me see now. That's $15 wholesale. Mr. Austin, I wonder if you could possibly let me have, say, $7.50 of that on deposit now.
I pay on delivery.
Yes, I know, but it happens I'm short of cash right now.
Oh. Ordinarily, I don't do business that way, but since you're a friend of Ben Cartwright's, all right. I'll draw up a receipt.
Thank you, sir.
Colonel, how nice to see you.
Why, good morning, Miss Emily.
What can I do for you, Miss Colfax?
Oh, you two go on. I want to look at some material.
Mr. Austin, as a matter of fact, I do have some other appointments. Why don't I come back later?
No need. Won't take but a minute.
Well, Miss Emily, you look very pretty this morning.
Thank you.
Oh, good morning, Emily.
Asa?
Colonel, what are you doing? Buying yourself a store?
No, not this morning, Mr. Flanders.
Just sign here, Colonel.
Oh, Mr. Austin, why don't I drop by and pick up that other item later?
Just as easy to do it now.
Well, thank you very much, but I'll come back. Miss Emily, if you are through, I would be honored to walk you home.
That's very kind of you.
Oh, when can I expect delivery on the plow?
Within 10 weeks, Mr. Austin.
All right. Don't forget the 750.
I won't, Mr. Austin. Be assured of it.
I beg your pardon, Colonel. Do I understand that you're selling Austin a plow?
Plows, Mr. Flanders, plows. 750 of them, to be precise.
750 plows?
Exactly. Mr. Austin should triple his money within 6 months. You see, it's a brand new item which has just been released on the market by a firm which I hope to organize. Since Mr. Austin is a friend of Mr. Cartwright's, I thought I'd do him a small favor.
Well, that was very generous of you.
Colonel, I know this country pretty well. Why, Austin couldn't sell 750 plows around here in 10 years.
Well, I wouldn't be too certain of that were I you, Mr. Flanders, particularly in view of certain negotiations in which I am involved.
Oh, what kind of negotiations?
Asa, don't be so inquisitive.
What were you going to say, Colonel?
Can I trust you to be discreet, Mr. Flanders?
Why, of course.
I'm involved in a project of vast importance.
What kind of project?
Transportation.
You mean a railroad?
Well, please, no more for the moment. Don't press me further.
Well, you've taken Austin in. I mean, that's why he's buying all those plows from you, isn't it? After all, Colonel, I'm a friend of Ben Cartwright's, too.
No more right now, I beg you.
Of course. Really, Asa, I'm ashamed of you.
Well, Emily, business is business. Right, Colonel?
But not at the expense of manners. Come along, Colonel.
Mr. Flanders. Well, this has been most pleasant. I'm sorry that our acquaintance has been so brief.
Then you really are leaving tomorrow.
Yes, I'm afraid that I must.
This is a bit forward, but since you are leaving so soon, perhaps I can be forgiven. Could we have lunch again, Colonel?
Well, I don't know, Emily. I do have some unfinished business with Mr. Austin.
Please. Only this time, instead of your taking me to the restaurant, I'll have Martha fix us a picnic basket, and we can go out by the lake.
Why, that sounds splendid. I haven't been on a picnic for a long time. You've made this a very lovely afternoon, Miss Emily.
Oh, just Emily, please. It has been lovely.
I don't remember when I've known such peace and contentment. I hate the thought of leaving.
Do you have to?
Yes.
Will you be coming back, Frank?
That's hard to say, Emily.
I don't suppose a man like you finds many attractions in Virginia City.
Oh, that's where you're wrong. I have found more genuine friendship here in a day or so than I dreamed possible. You see, Emily, I'm actually a very lonely man.
I find that hard to believe. Well, why don't you just stop? Settle down someplace.
I can't, Emily.
Surveying for your old railroad that important? Sorry, I guess I shouldn't have mentioned that. It's a secret, isn't it?
It's silly, isn't it? That I have to keep secrets, even from you. Emily, a man can be trapped by responsibilities. Building bridges, digging tunnels, deciding railroad rights of way.
Those are very important things, aren't they?
There's more to it than that. Now, that's all I know how to do.
If you could, would you stop traveling?
Like a shot. But it's not very practical, I'm afraid.
There goes the Colonel and Emily Colfax. He gets around pretty good for a stranger in town.
Well, he probably seems exciting to Emily. She's led quite a lonely life these past few years.
Colonel and his talk about big secret deals. I can't figure him.
Then don't try, Asa. Maybe you better use your time helping me figure the taxes on the Smathers sale.
Ah, that's penny-ante stuff. That's the trouble with you, Will. You don't think big like Ben Cartwright, or even the Colonel.
You do the big thinking, Asa. I'll penny-ante our living.
Doesn't it strike you as a coincidence that Ben Cartwright made a fast land deal with us just as the Colonel comes into town to scout for a railroad?
Oh, Asa, from what you told me, the Colonel didn't really say all that.
He didn't have to say it. It was plain without it. I tell you, Will, he and Ben are up to something.
Then that's their business.
Well, not when Ben Cartwright is using our land to make himself a nice fat profit, it's not.
Where are you going?
Boss, here comes Asa. Asa, good to see you. Save you a trip.
Oh, about that option on Alder Valley?
Yep, got to exercise that option before the time runs out.
We need that land pretty bad. Adam's already on his way with that crow track herd.
Yeah, he got it all right.
I'm sorry to hear that. I came out here to get that option back.
Asa, we made a deal.
I wouldn't have made that deal if I would have known what you and the Colonel were working on.
Colonel and I aren't working in anything. Colonel went to Sacramento yesterday.
I just talked to him this morning.
Oh. Well, I guess he's selling some of his farm equipment.
About that other thing. That secret project he's working on.
What are you talking about, Asa?
Emily Colfax, that land of hers. He wouldn't be trying to do something with that, would he? Like the right-of-way to a railroad?
Asa, what the devil are you talking about?
All right, if that's the way you want to leave it. But I'm sure going to talk to a lawyer about getting that option back.
What's all that talk about the railroad and the Colonel, Paul?
I don't know. I'm sure gonna find out. Oh, hello, Emily.
Ben.
Do you know where I might be able to find Frank Medford?
Won't you come in?
Well, I tried the hotel, and they said they didn't know anything about him there.
I've been trying to tell you he's here. Now will you come in?
Oh, thank you.
He's upstairs washing up. I invited him to dinner.
Oh, well, perhaps I'd better come
Oh,
back.
no, will you join us?
No, thank you. I really just want a word with him.
I'm so pleased you introduced us. He's certainly a fascinating gentleman.
Well, I'm glad that you're getting along so well.
Why, Ben, I didn't expect to see you.
Well, I didn't expect to see you either, Frank. I checked all around town, went to the hotel, and they didn't
Oh,
see
yes. Well, they were full up. I had to go to a rooming house. May I, Emily?
Certainly.
Well, Ben, what is it?
Well, thank you. Asa Flanders came out to see me, and he started talking about some project that you and I are supposed to be involved in.
Asa Flanders?
Yeah.
You must be imagining things.
Well, he seemed pretty positive, so...
Well, I don't know where he could get hold of such a wild idea, Ben. Ben, you're suspecting me of something.
Oh, no, not Frank. No, of course not, really.
Now, admit it.
No, of course I'm not.
Emily, what do you do with a man like that?
Ben, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
You know, Ben, this must all stem from a slight misunderstanding which occurred at the general store this morning. Asa Flanders was there. He must have misinterpreted some of the things that I said.
Well, I know Asa. He's full of suspicions and frustrations. Well, it must have happened that way.
However, if anything does come up, rest assured you'll be in on it.
That's very kind of you, Frank. Look, why stay in a rooming house? Why not come back to the Ponderosa?
Well, I'm leaving tomorrow anyway, Ben.
Oh. I suppose we can't ask you to stay any longer, can we? We'll make sure that we see each other before you leave.
Count on it.
Emily?
Goodbye, Ben.
Frank.
Ben.
Frank, I didn't know you were leaving so soon.
Well, I don't want to, Emily, but I have no choice.
What about your railroad project?
Our little secret? Well, I've done all I can on that, my dear. Now I really must be moving along.
Frank, would you call for me in the morning with my buggy? I'd like to show you something.
What are you scheming?
You'll see. And I'll come in to dinner, or Martha will have our scalps.
Good morning, Miss Emily.
Good morning, Emily. I was just coming to have a word with you.
Perhaps later. The Colonel and I are going for a drive in the country.
The Colonel seems to enjoy looking over our neck of the woods. I'll be frank with you, Colonel. My brother and I'd like to be cut into that railroad deal of yours.
My dear Mr. Flanders, I've already explained to you I'm not at liberty to discuss that matter.
Really, Asa?
Well, as I said, Emily, business is business. Just tell me one thing, Colonel. What direction is that railroad coming into town?
I'm sorry, I can't tell you anything at all.
And now we must be going. Stop here, Frank.
Ooh. Oh, this place, what is it?
It's mine. My father left it to me when he died.
Why, it's beautiful, Emily.
There's over 4,500 acres here.
No one's living here? No one's working it?
No.
It seems a shame. You know, if it had been me, I would have had the house on that knoll right over there.
I've had my eye on that very spot.
Oh, you've got grass and you've got water all year round. Why, you could run 200, 300 head of cattle here with no trouble at all. Look at that meadow over there. That meadow is crying for corn and wheat. You'll still have plenty of room for your kitchen crop. Oh, Emily, there's so much that could be done here.
Yes. But it takes a man to do it. Frank, I know this isn't very big or very important after the kind of things you've been doing. But I thought that...
I know what you're thinking, Emily. And I thank you for it. But you should forget about me. I wouldn't be worthy of you.
Not worthy? Don't you think you ought to let me decide that?
Emily, there are things about me that you don't know.
I'm sure there are. I can't imagine there's anything so dreadful that it would make me change my feelings.
I know myself. And once you came to know me, your feelings would change, believe me.
But when you love someone, what they've been or done in the past is unimportant.
No, Emily, no. I'm saying this for your own good. Please, forget me.
I see. Well, I guess I found out what's really important to you. Would you drive me home, please?
Here.
Emily.
Now go away. Leave her be.
Emily. Emily, will you marry me?
Frank, what?
Emily, I love you. Will you marry me?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes, darling.
Come in, Pa. 3,000 head of them. Herd's bedded down about 12 miles out. Adam said he'd drive him into the valley sometime tomorrow.
Oh, that's great news. That's really good news. How is Adam?
Oh, he's fine. Crew's all right, too.
Good.
What about the cattle?
The cattle are just so-so right now, but they've been 2 days without water. Give them a couple of days in that valley, you won't find better-looking stock anywhere.
Oh, that's great news. Great news. First thing in the morning, we're going to take these supplies out to Adam.
Listen, he said he wanted one of Hop Singh's apple pies and some coffee he doesn't have to chew.
Hey, look, why wait till tomorrow? How come little Joe and I don't load it up and take it on out there now, Paul?
That's a wonderful idea. Go tell Hop Sing to get that apple pie ready.
Will do.
Well, this is a surprise. What's this? I have never seen such two beaming faces.
Ben, we have wonderful news. Frank and I are going to be married.
Well, aren't you going to congratulate us, Ben?
Well, of course I am, of course.
Ben, you should have warned me. The colonel just swept me off my feet.
Well, this day is just full of the best news. When's the big occasion?
Tomorrow at noon.
Really?
Well, we've made all the arrangements, and my wedding dress is ready.
Well, of course. Why not? The sooner the better.
Ben, I'd like you to give me away.
Well, Emily, I'd be honored. Frank, you don't have a best man.
Well, no, not now, Ben. I was hoping you, but...
Hoss. Hoss is the man for you. And both of you, please, you must do me this favor. Please be married here on the Ponderosa.
Well, Ben, we had planned to be married at Emily's house.
Well, after all, I did bring you two together.
Ben, we couldn't impose on you.
Emily, I insist. Please.
Thank you for everything, Ben.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Now, Martha, you mustn't cry now.
Miss Emily, I've saved my tears for your wedding for 8 years. Don't deny me now. Oh, I'm so happy.
Right over there, sir.
Right, Pa.
Yes, sir. What with the music? All the ladies crying ain't nothing like a wedding, is it?
No?
Oh, here.
Wonder why we don't have one of our own around here, then.
Paul, what I meant is, I like weddings as a spectator only.
You know what he means. He likes to kiss the bride without paying the price.
Oh, come on, let's get dressed.
If you're going to drink, go over to the saloon. This office is for work.
I've been working, Will. I've been studying. I've been studying how Ben Cartwright stole this land from us. And then that lawyer Nelson saying we can't do nothing about it.
Once and for all, Asa, will you get off that subject? We made a deal fair and square. Now stop trying to make something else out of it.
Nights that I lay awake, thinking, planning, so that I'd know the chance. The big one, when it came. And then they stole it. Right out from underneath our nose.
Asa, you sicken me. You're brooding over missed chances. Where do you think it's going to get you?
Better than thinking like a penny-pinching bookkeeper all the time.
My penny-pinching bookkeeper's mind is what's kept us solvent and respectable all these years.
But this time I'm right, Will. Can't you see the railroad right-of-way through our valley could bring us a fortune? If I could only get that land back.
We made the deal. Now get those suspicions out of your greedy little mind. Go home and sober up. Hoss, how much longer do we have to wait?
Well, until the bride's ready, Colonel. You might as well get used to waiting. You got a lot of to do from now on.
Hello, Mr. Cartwright.
Miss Altman, Miss Blanchard. Don't the Colonel make a mighty handsome bridegroom, though?
He certainly does.
Colonel, stop your worrying. Why, you used to dodge bullets in battle. They tell me that getting married ain't much worse.
Oh, you really are helpful.
Well, it's a part of the tradition, Joe. You're supposed to sort of jubilate the bridegroom. Like, forgetting the ring.
Oh, come on.
Hoss, you didn't.
No, just teasing you. Got it right there.
That's it. It's your last chance to run for the door.
No, not for anything in this world.
To you.
Asa, please.
I came here to get our land back.
We're having a wedding here. This is no time to discuss business.
I say it is. You cheated us out of Alder Valley.
We'll discuss it later.
We'll discuss it now. I want that option back.
Look, Asa, I have 3,000 head of cattle due late today. I'm not going to let those cattle die because of some fool notion in your head. We have a deal, and that's that.
You really wanted that land for a railroad right-of-way. You and the Colonel been conniving ever since he came into town.
Lisa, you're drunk. Now, please,
Admit it! You've been talking about that railroad coming through town. You said that he was involved in it. Now, you gonna deny that?
I certainly am. My business here is my private affair. You have no right to question me.
Asa, you've been prying into the Colonel's business ever since he came into town.
Asa, we've had enough of this. Now, please get out.
You're all in this together. But I'm gonna get the truth out of you, Cartwright. You Cartwrights think you can get away with anything. But this time you're gonna find out you're wrong.
Flanders, listen to me. Nobody stole your land for a railroad right-of-way. Believe me.
Believe you? Why should I believe you?
Because there is no railroad. Because there is no right-of-way.
You see, Asa? It was all in your imagination. You dreamt it up. Now, please, let us get on with the wedding.
And it was you, Colonel. You're nothing but a liar. Everything that you said is nothing but a pack of lies. Well, what about it, Colonel?
Yes, that's right. Nothing but a pack of lies.
Frank, you don't have to answer such a ridiculous statement.
It's not a ridiculous statement, Emily. At last, someone is telling the truth, Ben. I did allow him to think I was surveying for a railroad. I did allow him to think that you were in on it. I lied, just as he says.
You dirty, lousy. Let me make a fool out of myself. You made a fool out of everybody.
Hey, sir!
Sorry, Ben. I'm sorry about everything. But if he was my friend, I'd run him out of town on a rail.
Emily,
Who cares about an old railroad?
No, it's not just the railroad, Emily. I lied about everything. I'm nobody. I don't know any of those important people I talked about. I'm not a director in a company. I'm just Frank Medford, a traveling salesman.
Why? Why?
Why? Because, Ben, ever since those days in Nicaragua when I was a so-called hero, when the village girls cheered us as liberators, nothing exciting, nothing important has ever happened to me.
You felt you had to try to keep on being a hero, make yourself important by lying. You didn't have to do that, Frank. Not for me.
I tried not to, Ben. That first day that I saw you in Virginia City, I was trying to get away. I tried to leave after that. But then I was trapped. And then I needed to be someone important. Someone like you. You are everything I ever wanted to be. And you've done everything I ever wanted to do as a man. One thing I did not lie about, Ben. I love Emily. With all my heart.
Ben, I don't want to hear any excuses for it.
Excuses? I think what Frank did today took courage. A tremendous amount of courage. What he did in Nicaragua took a lot of courage. But what he did today, he humiliated himself before the very people whose respect and admiration he needed. That took a greater kind of courage.
Ben, I'm a woman. There's something more important. A few minutes ago, I was going to be married to a man I thought loved me.
He does love you. That's the one truth in his life.
Truth? I've got to be sure. How do I know he wasn't lying when he said he loved me?
Emily, tell me something. Have you been happy these past 8 years? Since that young man died on the eve of what was to have been your wedding?
You know I haven't.
Well, haven't you used your grief as a crutch to keep going? Well, Frank uses his lies as a crutch. I don't say he's right. But Maybe we all need some kind of crutch occasionally. Five minutes ago, you said you loved him. Now, have your feelings changed so completely in so short a time?
I don't know. How will I ever know if
he loves you? Trust him. Give him a chance to prove it. Emily, there isn't much time. Frank, we have some unfinished business. Give me those bags.
Emily,
Now, you heard what Ben said.
Emily, you know the kind of man I am.
Yes, I know. But you're also the kind of man who was going to marry me.
In spite of all you know, you still want to marry me?
Yes. I love you, Frank.
Frank, I always thought you were a man of action.
Thank you, Ben.
Star shines down, down on the ground she lies, under an earthly mound, that's where her spirit lies. Rim, rim, under the red rock rim, under the red rock rim. She was young, so fair, she didn't lie, you see.
There he is, right on time again.
Yep, the middle of the night.
You know, we can thank our brother Adam for bringing in that singing troubadour to give the whole family insomnia.
Roams around all night strumming that blamed guitar. Reckon where he goes.
I know, I'd like him to go.
Well, ain't likely I'll doze off again tonight. Might as well get up.
Face.
Hey, Joe, come here.
What's he doing?
Looks like he hurt his arm somehow.
Well, he didn't hurt it bad enough. He can still strum that guitar.
Keeps playing that same song.
Yeah, it's a strange one. You know, the boys in the bunkhouse were telling me he found a coyote in a trap the other day. He strangled it with his bare hands.
Think we ought to talk to Paul about getting rid of him?
Either that or Adam's gonna have to tie him up at night. I gotta get some sleep.
Yeah, me too.
She was so young, so fair, cheated and lied, you see. So with a deadly care, he set her spirit free.
Morning, Adam.
Ah, good morning, Dan.
Hey, you want that we should get started on the corral fence today?
Oh, yeah, as soon as my brothers finish their leisurely breakfast.
Whoa.
Well, morning, Mr. Johnson.
Morning,
Mary.
Adam.
Hello there, Adam.
Let me give you a hand.
Well, the missus finished making them preserves for your pa, so we thought we'd bring them over to you. And return that plow you were nice enough to lend to us, I think.
You're quite welcome. You know, Mary, if these preserves are as good as the ones you made last year, I think we're going to praise you all winter long.
Well, I hope you like them, Adam.
Here, let me help you, ma'am. These.
Thanks, Danny.
Hey, all of them at once?
You don't know his strength.
Oh, my goodness.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I'll show you where they go.
I'll give you a hand with this plow.
Hey, careful. Huh? Oh, well, music, instruments like that, tools of the devil. We drove through town on the way in here, Adam. The devil sure worked his will in there last night.
Morning, Mr. Johnson. What's all this talk about the devil on such a nice, bright, sunny morning?
Well, I was just telling Adam here there was a killing last night.
Oh, yeah? Trouble in the saloon?
No, this was a crime of passion. The widow Baker was murdered.
But who'd want to kill her?
Poor woman. Hey, got any idea who did it?
No, not yet. The maid come in to clean up the parlor this morning, and there she was, dead.
All she did was run a high-stake card game in the back parlor. And an honest one at that.
Honest? Her with her gambling cards?
The sheriff have any leads?
No, the sheriff's out of town, but the deputy, Jeff Sykes, he says it must have been a powerful man with mighty strong hands.
Why'd he say that?
Well, because of the marks on her neck. You see, the widow was strangled to death. Well, thanks again, Mr. Cartwright, for the loan of the plow.
Yeah, let me help you out, man.
Thank you, little Jim.
Thank you for the preserves.
You're welcome. Goodbye to you.
Bye-bye.
Howdy, Jeff.
Howdy, Ben.
You had some trouble in town.
Yeah, Ben, I'd like a word with Adam.
Adam?
Morning, Jeff. What can I do for you?
About this fellow Morgan, Adam. What do you know about him?
Oh, not much, except he did me a little favor a couple of years ago.
What kind of a favor?
Oh, like saving my life.
Is that all you know about him?
What's to know?
Your friend Danny was heard last night singing around the widow Baker's. Just about the time she was strangled to death.
Yeah, well, we heard about the widow.
He's been heard singing at night all over the territory, so what does that prove?
I want to see him anyway.
As you say.
Hey, Dan.
Danny, the sheriff wants to talk to you a minute.
Sure. What about, Sheriff?
Roll up them sleeves. Look at that arm. Those are some pretty deep scratches. I think you better come along with me.
What for?
Widow Baker didn't die easy. She fought for her life. We found bits of skin and blood underneath the fingernails.
Lonely as he can be, riding on endlessly, lonely as he can be, his spirit never free. Rim, under the red rock rim, that's where to look for him. Rim, that's where to look for him. Under the red rock rim.
Widow Baker must have had about $10,000 hidden around that house of hers. She never used a bank account.
That's a mighty good motive for robbery and murder, $10,000.
Evening, Felix, Bubba.
Howdy, William.
You know, they should take that guitar away from him.
Be practicing for a harp.
Not where he's going.
A woman has just been strangled to death, gentlemen. I don't find that a very humorous situation. It's Adam Cartwright we have to thank for bringing a man like Morgan into our midst.
Evening, Sheriff. Got a lot of help outside.
Yeah, they got Morgan tried and hung before I even pressed a formal charge.
Can I see him?
Oh, I suppose you can, Adam. About the only thing I can get out of him is the words to that song. Oh, Adam. Let me know when you're ready to leave.
Well, you're in real trouble, Danny.
I ain't done nothing, Adam.
Where were you last night?
Riding. Just riding. Looking at the stars and watching Orion's belt.
So now you hurt your arm on Orion's belt?
My arm? My horse stumbled and I sort of fell against some thorny briars. Well, that's how it happened, Adam. I mean, I sort of stumbled. You remember the time your horse stumbled when you were crossing the Poker Flats? Yeah, I remember.
Listen, Danny. You were heard around the widow's place last night. And the card game there broke up about 2 o'clock this morning, and some of the players were leaving. They heard you singing off in the night someplace.
Well, she gave me $1 for fixing the fence for yesterday. A whole $1 for just that fence. Well, singing a song was the least I could do for that whole $1.
How long were you outside the house?
Sheriff's been asking me the same questions, Adam. Have you got to, too?
Well, just trying to find out what really happened.
I done told you, Adam. I ain't done nothing. I ain't killed nobody.
Alrighty. I may be a minority of one, but I believe it.
Sheriff? Hey, Adam? When are they gonna let me out of this place?
We'll see what we can do.
Did you get anything out of him?
No, just that he denies hurting anybody.
Well, that ain't enough to prove him innocent.
It doesn't prove him guilty either.
Hey, singing man, sing us another tune.
Yeah, we're tired of that old one. Make it a new one.
How about dancing from the end of a rope?
yeah, end of a rope.
They could get pretty nasty.
I can handle him.
Just sitting there stewing and not eating your supper isn't going to help anybody.
Danny's locked in a cell, while the respectable folk of Virginia City stand outside his window and tell him that he's going to be hanged, and the sooner the better. Is that the kind of stuff you build an appetite on?
Well, they're wrong, of course. But that doesn't necessarily make you altogether right, either. He could be guilty.
A voice in the dark and a scratch in the arm is not proof.
He came here looking for a stake. $10,000 make a mighty big stake.
Look, when he saved my life, I was half out of my head. There was $3,000 in my saddlebags. He knew it was there. Told me later. He could have taken all the money, left me there to die. And no one would have been any the wiser.
Maybe you're right. Some people are harder to figure than others.
Yeah. He's different. But that doesn't automatically make him a dangerous killer. What are you doing out of jail?
Well, I just couldn't take it no more, Adam. I was all closed in, nothing but walls. I couldn't see the sky. Not even one star.
Well, how did you get out?
Well, the sheriff, when he brought me my supper, well, I grabbed him.
Oh, Danny didn't hurt him, did you?
No, sir. I wouldn't hurt nobody. I just grabbed him and wrestled the keys away from him.
Where'd you leave him?
In the cell. I couldn't think of no other place. Well, he's all right, Adam, honest. I just couldn't take it no more. Well, I ain't running away, Mr. Cartwright. Nothing like that. I just couldn't stay locked up no more, Adam.
Well, you're just going to have to go back.
Back to jail?
Yeah, back to jail.
Please, Adam,
All right, don't worry about it. Going out to the bunkhouse.
Why'd you do that?
Town's in an ugly mood.
Adam, he broke jail.
Look, it's gonna be better this way all around. Stays away one night, I take him back tomorrow.
You're sure sticking your neck out. Way out.
It's my neck. Take him some food. He didn't have any supper.
Hey, how'd Danny get out of jail?
He broke out.
He broke out? How come you let him ride off?
What?
Since I was coming out of the barn, I seen him riding off.
If he's gone for good, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, Adam.
If he'd wanted to escape, he never would have come back here. Here, take care of that. I'm gonna ride in and tell the sheriff what's happened.
I'll go with you.
No, never mind. Danny's my problem. I'll take care of it.
Tell him will start as soon as there's light. We'll meet here. Well, your innocent friend escaped. Locked me in my own jail.
I know.
You know? How could you know? I'm a deputy. Just let me out.
He came out to the ranch.
Why didn't you bring him in?
He didn't stay.
Didn't stay? You mean you let him go?
I intend to bring him back in the morning. And believe me, he's not trying to escape. He just wandered off, but he'll be back.
You dang right he'll be back. I'm bringing him back with a posse. I was going to wait till there's light, but now that I know where he's been, I'm riding just as soon as I get the men.
Jeff, give him till morning. I know he'll come back.
You brought him to this community. You've been aiding and abetting him ever since. Now stay out of it, Adam. From now on, I'll handle Morgan.
It's only me.
Danny Morgan, you just don't touch me. You stay away from me.
I wouldn't touch you, Miss Johnson.
Just stay away from me.
You're afraid of me. Don't be afraid of me, Miss Johnson. Well, I was riding by and I saw you standing here at the well. Just wanted a drink of fresh well water.
You're supposed to be in jail.
Oh. Yes, ma'am, I know. But I just couldn't stay there no more. I couldn't see the sky or the stars. I just couldn't stay there no more, ma'am. Especially at nighttime. I can't be closed in at nighttime. I've got to be out where I can ride them hills.
I've heard you at night.
Well, I hope I didn't bother you none with my singing.
Oh, no, you didn't. It helps with the loneliness. It gets lonely without children. I guess I better get my pail.
I'll do it. I like children too, Miss Johnson. The little ones. Now, they see the trees and the grass and the sky. They really see things when they look.
I think I understand what you mean. Thank you.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Help him.
Who was that? Was it that murdering devil, Morgan? Answer me, Mary. Was that Morgan?
Well,
It was, wasn't it? I'd recognize that white horse of his anywhere.
he just stopped by for a drink of water.
What's he doing out of jail? They arrested him today.
I guess they must have let him out.
Let him out? They can't let him out. He's a murderer.
Guess the deputy knows what he's doing, William.
This is probably those Cartwrights doing. They run this whole country just to suit themselves. Letting a disciple of the devil like that run around loose.
William, please.
Don't you realize the danger you were in? He could have done the same thing to you. He done to that poor widow woman last night. Come on inside. We'll go up and give thanks to the Lord for sparing your life.
Let us pray. Thank you, O Lord, for protecting my dear wife in her hour of peril. And may it please thy will that soon I may achieve that state of grace that will enable me to devote myself full time in thy behalf without any interference. Amen. Mary?
Amen.
Dearly beloved, for 8 years, this pulpit has been in my keeping. For 8 years, I have treasured it, brought it through adversity and danger, clear across this broad land.
It's not right to keep that pulpit in this place. It's a sacrilege. You ought to give it to a church.
Church, Mary, it will have its own church. My church. A church that I shall build and I shall nourish. Whose sheep only I shall choose. And Mary, only the pure and clean will enter the doors because I will be standing guard and keep the sinners out.
I thought churches were meant for sinners.
You thought. To let a woman like that sinful Widow Baker or that Danny Morgan enter a church, that's sacrilege. Mary, when Morgan hangs, then I think we can begin my ministry. I think we can start building next week.
Next week? Where's the money going to come from?
Mary, you leave all that to me. You just pray that Morgan hangs. I'm going to go to the sheriff first thing in the morning. I'm going to insist they put Morgan back in jail.
But what does Danny Morgan's hanging have to do with building the church?
Sinners must die so the pure might prosper, Mary.
But what if he's not guilty now? I don't think Danny Morgan could kill anybody. He's too kind. He's too gentle.
You do as I say, woman. Pray that Morgan hangs. Lord, suffer no interference in the building of my church. I have waited so long, Lord. I have waited so long. told you never to come in here without me.
Where did all this money come from?
$10,000.
It's her money, isn't it?
Hers? No, Mary. No, it's mine. Don't you see? I did it for us. To help us build our church.
That poor woman.
She was evil. The world is better off without her.
You killed her.
No, Mary, no. Don't you understand? Bad people need killing. God wants it that way.
You murdered her.
No, Mary. Don't you see? The money helps us to do his will. The more we prosper, the closer we come to him.
You're insane.
Don't say that! Don't ever say that! Mary, I didn't want you to know anything about this. I didn't. But now that you do, you'll have to understand. I'll have to try and make you understand.
I do, William. I do understand.
No, you don't, Mary. No, you don't.
I do, William. Honestly, I do.
No, I can't risk anybody finding out, Mary, not even you, unless I'm sure they understand.
I do.
But you don't. Nobody does. And it's so simple. Bad people must die.
That's where to look for him. That's where to look for him.
You killed her! You murdered her! You killed her!
Where you been?
Just riding, Adam.
I told you to wait in the bunkhouse. Why'd you leave?
Well, I couldn't go to the bunkhouse, Adam. Another way they'd look at me. The men think I killed the widow woman.
Don't you have any sense at all? What do you care what they think? What's wrong with your arm?
Nothing.
Boy, you've been shot. Who did it?
Now it's happened, Adam. What everyone was afraid of. You killed her. You killed her.
That'll be enough of that.
Easy, Adam. His wife's dead.
What?
Her neck's broken. He stopped us as we were on our way out here. Murder.
No. No, why, yeah, I saw her tonight, but I just stopped to get a drink of water.
I was out in the barn tending a sick calf. When I came back, he was standing over. I shouted, "You killed her, you murderer." When he got on his horse, tried to get away, I shot him. You don't believe me? Look at his arm. You killed my wife.
No, I ain't never killed nobody, honest, Adam.
If he killed her, why did he come back here? Why didn't he light out?
Who can tell what a killer will do? Come on, you. You better come along with me.
Let go with him, Danny.
You wouldn't put him back in jail, would you? No, no. You gotta play God.
How's the funeral?
Oh, Mr. Johnson got pretty emotional. Guess you were wise not going.
Whole town was there, including the deputy.
I hear they're trying Denny today.
Sure in a hurry to hang him, aren't they?
Adam, I know you think he's innocent. Thinking isn't enough. It's got to be some tangible evidence.
Well, I think I'm evidence. He could have left me out there to die, and my money was just as good as the widow Baker's. But he didn't kill then, and I don't believe he's killed now.
Well, somebody killed that poor woman. She's dead and buried.
Well, you know, there seems to be just two stories about all this, Danny's and Mr. Johnson's. And everybody assumes that it's Danny who's lying.
You suggesting that Mr. Johnson killed his own wife?
It's possible. It could just be that the upright Bible-spouting Mr. Johnson hasn't told us everything he knows.
Like you say, it could be, but it still has to be proved.
You have to prove it in a hurry, too. Mr. Johnson won't be around much longer. He's got his ranch up for sale.
He's kind of in a hurry, isn't he? I wonder why.
But they'll pay, Mary. I promise you they'll pay. That money was for us. But now I must go on alone. Rooting out corruption wherever I find it. The money will help me in that fight. The evil in the human soul must be destroyed. And I will be the instrument that destroys it. Where are you, Morgan?
Rim, rim, under the red rock rim, under the red rock rim. Lonely as he can be.
I saw him. Sheriff, when did you let him out?
Now, hold on, Johnson. What are you talking about?
But you did. You let him go, didn't you? That sinner, that murderer. Why?
Let who go?
Morgan. That's who. Danny Morgan.
Under the red rock rim, under the red rock rim.
You can hear for yourself. He's been here right along. Go on, take a look if you want to.
Down in the ground she lies, under an earthly mound, that's where her spirit lies. Rim, rim, under the red rock rim, under the red rock rim.
I saw him outside my house not a half an hour ago. He couldn't get back here before me without his horse.
Now, Johnson, why don't you just simmer down?
You don't believe me? Well, I brought his horse back with me. Come on. I'll show you. Come on. You can see for yourself.
That's your horse, ain't it, Johnson?
But his horse was there. That big white horse he always rides. I know. I brought him here myself. I tied him right up to that rail.
Look, Mr. Johnson, I know you've been under a terrible strain with that awful thing that happened to your poor wife and all. It can start a man to imagining things. It can happen to anybody.
I saw him, and I heard him.
Morgan's horse is in my stable where he's been all night. I put him there myself. Trial starts tomorrow. Morgan will hang, there's no doubt. And that'll be the end of it.
I saw him. I know I did. I shot him right off of that horse. I've got to get away. I've got to get away. He's a devil. I've got to take it to a safe place. Help me. Help me. Build my church in a safe place. What do you want? What are you doing here?
I need your help.
Help?
I have doubts need your help.
Doubts? What kind of doubts?
About all that's happened. It's as though the devil himself were around tonight.
Are you against the devil?
Yes, I am. But I'm afraid of him. I need help to fight him. I need your help.
Yes. Then you too sense the forces of evil that are loose tonight?
Yes, there are forces of evil loose here.
Yes. On this night of evil, you come to me seeking help. Adam, you shall be my first convert.
I shall be your convert.
Adam, do you see this pulpit?
Yes.
It's a miracle pulpit, Adam. Saved alone from a great fire.
Yes.
Around it I shall build my miracle church, free of sinners.
Oh, yes, a miracle church, free from sinners.
A glorious church, Adam, with magnificent windows. And only the pure in heart can enter there.
Yes, a glorious church with magnificent windows, and only the pure in heart.
Yes.
What way?
Huh?
How shall we build this church?
Don't you fear. I can do it. I have the strength. I have the faith.
Yes.
I have the power.
Strength, faith, and power. But we have no money.
Don't worry about that.
No, you can't build a church on words. There'll be no glorious church with magnificent windows.
Yes. I have money.
No miracle church free of sinners because you only have debt.
No, I have money.
No, you don't have money.
Yes, I do. I have $10,000.
The Winter Baker's $10,000.
Yes. No. I mean...
Yes. You killed for it, didn't you?
No. It's holy. It's done God's work for 100 years. It can't be broken.
But it is.
Now I can't build my church. It's wrong. It's all wrong. I'm wrong.
Danny, come back to see us.
Thank you, Hoss.
Lots of luck, Danny.
Bye, Danny.
Thank you, Mr. Ben. Well, I gotta be going, Adam.
Sure you won't change your mind? Wait till tomorrow?
No, I like traveling best in the dark.
Well, if you ever need anything, come on back.
If I do, I sure will, Adam.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Rim, under the red rock rim. Nary a star shines down, down on the ground she lies, under an earthly mound, that's where her spirit lies.
Come on, Hobie. I told you one sack at a time. What are you doing? You pulling for foreman or something?
Day's work for a day's pay.
As a man looks like he needs a drink.
Yeah.
Here's... Hey, Hobie!
Where's he rushing to?
I don't know. Reckon he's sore because we won't let him do his share of the work.
Would you mind moving your horse?
The man driving that rig, did he go into the saloon?
You gonna move your horse?
Adam, that burn Hobie run plumb out on us, right through that store and out the back door.
Hobie? Hobie Clinderman?
Yeah, you know Hobie?
In a way. If you catch up with him, you tell him that it won't do him any good to run. And you tell him that the Ponderosa isn't large enough to hide a murderer.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. Let's go have a talk.
I give you the health of him who sits there in lonely majesty. Glad to see you again, gentlemen. You're just in time to drink a toast. To the Honorable W.H. Whitaker, Magistrate of the Commonweal, sometimes affectionately known as Hanging Harry. Well, the judge is relaxing a bit. Perhaps the judge will honor us with his presence a bit longer. Maybe we can get him to tell us some of his more sprightly stories. About some of the men he's sentenced to dance on air.
Who are you, kid? What do you want?
To track down an elusive quarry. Truth. I'm a newspaper man. Young but very articulate. I work for Horace Greeley's newspaper in New York City. And I've come out here to gather in a little of the local color.
Oh, I see. You ever think about picking on somebody your own age?
Why, now, you wouldn't want to deny me the right of free speech, would you?
No, certainly not.
Not with a judge of the Commonweal listening? You are listening, aren't you, Judge?
Why don't you shut up?
Why should I? Words are my only weapon. Welcome, stranger. Allow me to introduce you. to hanging Harry Whitaker, the most famous judge in the territory.
I happen to know all about the judge and his career.
Why, then you must know that old Harry doesn't count sheep like the rest of us do when we can't sleep. No, sir. Old Harry counts row after row of dangling men, kicking their lives away at the end of a rope.
Well, there's nothing like a whiskey mouth. A little young, Judge. Anything we can do for you?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, I'm looking for an old friend. I wonder if you could direct me to his place. His name is Ben Cartwright.
Well, just so happens that we're his sons. I'm Adam. This is my brother Hoss.
Well, Judge Whitaker, I've heard my Paul mention you. He would be mighty happy to see you again, Judge, I'm sure.
Well, I don't suppose he'd be expecting me because we haven't met in years, you know. But he has written more than once to invite me to the Ponderosa, and just happening to be in the neighborhood.
He just happened to be in the neighborhood. Why don't you tell him why you're really here? Go on, Your Honor. Tell the good people the real reason.
Hoss, why don't you ride with the judge on back to the ranch? I'll bring the wagon in.
Go on, Your Honor.
Now let's you and me have a little talk.
One of the great and mighty Cartwrights, hmm?
What do you mean about hiding murderers on the Ponderosa?
My name is Jolly, Bob Jolly. It may help if I tell you that my father was Carl Jolly. A little over a year ago, my father was hung by the neck until he was dead. The charge was shooting a territory agent down in cold blood.
Well, now, if my memory serves me correct, he was found guilty. There was evidence and, I believe, some witnesses.
There was hanging Harry Whitaker, you mean, so bloated with power over life and death, he had no time for anything except keeping his reputation. And so, an innocent man paid with his life.
I was in that courtroom in Pipesville. Your father was guilty. And he got a fair trial.
If you were there, then you know he was railroaded.
I was there. I was there, and I'm no liar. You old enough to use that gun?
Well, what could I expect? The great American West. A haven for scum. A paradise for killers and gunslingers. Where bullies become judges. And good men's lives are sold to a screaming crowd for how many pieces of silver?
Why don't you just leave it right there, huh?
You heard what he called me?
Yeah. But out here, we don't shoot men in the back for just any reason. About your father. I wasn't at the trial.
Don't apologize. He was only a poor homesteader, not really worth anyone's attention.
Boy, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if you didn't end this day in a pine box.
Why not? I think it goes rather nicely with this law-abiding part of the country.
The remark you made about the Ponderosa, now, what was that supposed to mean?
You know the meaning of it. You hired Hobie Clinderman.
That's right, but what's that got to do with it?
Hobie Clinderman swore my father's life away. Judge Whitaker tied the knot around his throat, and today both men find sanctuary on the Ponderosa. Now, do you know what I meant?
Boy, you know, you don't seem to have anything else on your mind but going around getting people all riled up. I don't know what you're after, but I would suggest that you go about it sensibly. Now, why don't you sit down reasonably, quietly, and speak your mind?
Just once. Maybe then people will know what's bothering you.
Wait.
I don't know, maybe you are on the level. Here, this is a story I sent back east to Mr. Greeley. It's about your father's bosom friend, Judge Whitaker. You read that, Cartwright, then you'll know what's bothering me.
There you are, Harry. Good and strong, just the way you like it.
Well, thank you, Ben. I think I still prefer it that way.
Harry, it's really good to see you.
Well, I can say the same thing, Ben. Old friends. I mean, sometimes you need them. You need them.
Yes, indeed you do. Indeed you do. Oh, come on in, Adam. You boys did yourself a proud bit of work this morning, finding my old friend the judge and bringing him out here. How'd you meet up?
Oh, we met in the saloon. The young fellow that was there was insulting the judge.
What do you mean, insulting the judge?
Oh, no, don't let it upset you, Ben. The young fellow's name was Robert Jolly. And I had the unhappy task of sentencing his father to death about a year ago.
Jolly. Oh, yeah. That's a man down in Pipesville, wasn't it?
That's the one. Carl Jolly. He murdered a man because he came onto his property and wanted to talk about buying a strip of land for the railroad. Well, Ben, you know how this territory's been hurting for a railroad.
Of course.
And, of course, there isn't an inch of progress to be made without it, and the people knew that. So they were going to do something. So the legislature provided the money for the land, and they deeded it over to the railroad. Oh, everybody was happy and cooperated for the territory, and all except Carl Jolly. Well, he elected to be stubborn. So even when Senator Prince sent a man down there to plead with him, he just shot him down.
Bob Jolly wrote this article. He contends that his father got anything but a fair trial.
Now that is a devilish lie. Ben, my conscience is clear. There were witnesses and facts. Carl Jolly took a life, and I took his. That was my duty. That was my duty. I think, Ben, I'd better rest a little bit.
Of course.
You already get that feed unloaded? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, Hobie gave me a hand with it.
Oh, Hobie's back?
How could he give me a hand with it if he wasn't back?
Well, how'd you know that Hobie was a chief witness in Carl Jolly's trial?
No, I did not.
Yeah, young Jolly thinks it's kind of strange that the man that swore his father's life away and the man that put the noose around his neck are both here at the same time at the Ponderosa. I'll tell you something else about your friend, the judge. Must be something that drives a man to the bottle before the sun is barely up in the morning. According to young Jolly, he hasn't sat in a courtroom for 6 months now. He just travels around from town to town, bar to bar.
Joe, call in Hobie.
Yes, sir.
You do have a way of sticking your neck out for the underdog.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Put your hands up, young man. Put them way up. Been fired? Yeah.
I shot at a rattler about a mile back.
Good. Maybe you can show us that rattler.
I'm afraid I can't. I missed. Judge! Sure seems like you're always around anytime one of us jollies is accused of shooting someone.
Howdy, Ben.
Roy? Just here?
No, I got him room up the hotel to use as an office. He's going to hold a preliminary hearing.
Oh, where?
Right here in my office.
I won't hold very many.
Well, I guess maybe he prefers it that way.
What about them?
Ben, I'm a lost. I just hate a noisy crowd, but I'm scared to death of a quiet one.
Who riled him up?
Who knows? All that takes is one voice and a good argument. Now, inside, I've got the son of a man who was hanged for murder. And only yesterday, he shot an innocent man.
Has anybody proved that?
No, but they all believe that he did it.
Can we go inside?
Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Jolly.
Well. Look who's come to visit the poor dollar-a-column newspaper fellow.
Well, we thought we'd see if you want us to hire a lawyer for you.
A lawyer? Well, I'm touched. Really touched. No, thank you, gentlemen. They hired a lawyer for my father. A young man who had just finished his reading in a lawyer's office. A young fellow who hadn't even seen the outside of a law school. My father was arrested, tried, and hanged in 3 days.
Nevertheless, we thought we might be of some help.
Gentlemen, let's not be inconsistent. You Cartwrights have the chief witness for the prosecution on your payroll, and you have the hanging judge in your house as a house guest.
Come on, Adam. We'll see you at the preliminary hearing.
Preliminary to what? The hanging?
You mind telling me something, Jolly? What's really eating you?
What's eating me? Injustice, Cartwright. Like an acid. Eating my insides out.
You sure it isn't something else?
Get out.
Okay. Looks kind of pale.
Well, Dan, you know what a 45 slug can do. However, Hobie's a tough nut. He'll be all right.
Say a 45 slug?
Yes.
Jolly wears a 38, doesn't he? Maybe that hearing shouldn't be held. I'd better tell Judge Whitaker.
No, wait, hold on. Why don't we, hold off telling the judge about this for a little while, huh?
What's on your mind?
Well, maybe this will give us a chance to find out if he's willing to dig out these new facts for himself.
This is a preliminary hearing to determine whether the accused shall be remanded for trial on the charge of attempted murder. If the accused is so remanded, I will disqualify myself and refer the case to another judge. All right, let's get on with it. Sheriff, were there any witnesses to the shooting?
Well, you know that there wasn't, Your Honor. But Bob Jolly showed up right after the shooting, and, well, his gun had been fired not too long before that. Now, he said that he shot a snake, but there wasn't any proof of that.
Was the bullet recovered?
I think so. You got it, ain't you, Doc?
Yes, I have it.
Describe the bullet.
It's base metal, predominantly lead, .45 caliber.
What caliber was the accused's gun?
It's a .38, Your Honor.
Is there any proof that the accused owned or had access to a .45 caliber gun?
Well, no, I just supposed that...
In the law, we don't suppose. Until you get proof, case dismissed. Release the prisoner.
Harry, let's get back to the Ponderosa.
Well staged, Your Honor. Very well staged.
Jolly, I thought you'd be satisfied.
I'll be satisfied when I get your friend, the judge, and Hobie Clinderman together.
Your father was guilty. I did the right thing. I did the right thing.
Ben, I think I better get a drink.
Well, there's one thing for sure. Boy in there's got a lot of courage.
Either that or a lot of gall.
Gall of courage. We better keep an eye on him while he's in town. He's not making any friends.
That's for sure.
Well, look who's in town.
I wonder what he's doing here.
Keeps interesting company.
Harry, how are you?
Well, what brings you here?
Well, Senator Prince, how are you, sir?
Tolerable, Mr. Cartwright, tolerable.
Well, Virginia City's honored.
Thank you very much, sir. I am not here on official business. I just happen to be passing through. And, Harry, I was wondering, is there somewhere we could have a drink? Alone, I mean.
Well, I'm with Ben Cartwright here.
Oh,
excuse me, Mr. Cartwright.
Adam? Oh, Senator Prince, I believe they have some rooms back here, but I want you to meet my eldest son, Adam, Senator Prince.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do? Now, would you mind, Harry? You will excuse us, gentlemen.
Certainly.
Harry, I have many things to discuss with you.
Senator Prince. Wasn't he the chairman on that legislative committee, the one that set up that railroad deal?
I believe he was, yes. Yes, why?
Funny. Seems that everybody had anything to do with Carl Jolly's all of a sudden showing up in Virginia City.
I say a trial was too good for your father. I say they shouldn't even have wasted the time. Just stretched his neck right there on the spot. What is it they sing? He shot a man who came to help. He shot him cold without a chance. But hanging Harry made him dance. Carl Jolly. Go on. Pull it. Everyone's watching. The world ain't gonna miss this jolly any more than the last one.
Cartwright! This is my affair!
Don't do it.
You taking this up?
No. It's nothing to take up.
Hold it! See, this is my business.
You ain't gonna be using that hand. You use your feet. Clear on out of town. You're out of business.
Well, who's guilty in this case, Judge?
I don't know what you mean, and I will not be talked to in that manner.
I mean no disrespect, sir. The man out there was a hired gunman, a professional killer. He was hired to pick a fight with Bob Jolly. Now, it seems that someone is very interested in hushing up the Jolly case. Now, do you know what I mean, sir?
This is ridiculous. From riffraff, I could understand. But from a Cartwright.
All that boy asked is the right to question the judge and the chief witness for the prosecution about his father's trial.
If you knew anything about the law, young man, you'd know that Robert Jolly has no such right. His father was tried. The law has spoken, and that is it.
Questions, Senator, just reasonable questions.
And how, I ask, can we expect reason from the son of a convicted murderer? And to ask Harry Whitaker, our great judge, a man who may one day sit on the supreme bench of the United States, to ask this man to subject himself to the so-called reasonable questions of a boy weighted down with the knowledge that he is a cold-blooded murderer's son? No. Gentlemen, no. As long as I have anything to say in this territory, our courts, our judges, will not be subjected to such indignity.
Thank you, Senator Prince. A sensitive judge can, I have learned, be driven to distraction, flooded with confusion as to the validity of his most honest decisions. So, here and now, I declare that henceforth I will be responsible only to the law and to the people of this territory. And I will not subject myself to the bias, vindictive, unreasonable inquisition of a Robert Jolly or any man like him.
Very good.
Judge Whitaker! Just one more question, sir. I am not biased. I am not vindictive, nor unreasonable. And my name is not Robert Jolly. And my father has not been accused, arrested, tried, convicted, and hanged in 3 days for murder. Though maybe that's just through the grace of God. And I haven't been forced to chase a judge all over the territory to ask him questions, which I had a right to ask.
How dare you?
I dare, sir, because I've lived in this territory most of my life. I have part of its future, and I want to be proud of it. So don't deny me that. Now, Hobie Clindeman is going to be up and around in a couple of days. I am willing to meet the both of you here in this saloon Friday morning. But I leave that decision up to you, Judge. Thank you, sir. Bob, you told me that your father was a poor, uneducated, warm-hearted man who...
What's wrong with that? He was.
Well, I've just come from Pipesville. And Carl Jolly's former neighbors told me that he was the most stubborn, cantankerous, and argumentative man that ever drew a breath.
Well, there are a lot of liars.
Isn't it true that he argued with you constantly? That he even picked a fight with you one Sunday morning in church? Bob, isn't it true that you hated the farm and that you wanted to run away to New York, get away? And that your father took a gun and he aimed it at your head and he said that he'd kill you if you dared leave the farm? Now, isn't that true, Bob?
All right. But my father didn't really mean any harm by it. He only pointed a gun at me and told me I couldn't go. And I said to him, if you want me to stay on this farm, you'll have to kill me and bury me here. And I turned and walked away. I never looked back. Never. Until it was too late.
Didn't you ever write him?
Often, at first. But he never answered, so I stopped. I remember the first letter, the only letter I ever got. I had moved away from the address he had, so I got it 4 months late. I shall never forget that letter. My dear son, I'm in jail. They say I killed a railroad feller. I didn't. But they're going to hang me. I wish I could kiss you goodbye. Respectfully, your father.
This is unfair. Grossly unfair. Let's not forget that Bill Hauser died, too. Yes, and he died with Carl Jolly's bullet in his heart. That's been proved.
Senator, I think if you'll just be patient, sir, you'll get your turn.
I don't want my turn, Cartwright. I want this whole farce of a trial stopped right now. These proceedings are ridiculous.
Your Honor?
Proceed.
Hobie, you and the man was killed. What's his name again?
Hauser. Billy Hauser.
Yes, Bill Hauser. The two of you worked for Senator Prince and his legislative committee, didn't you?
That's right.
And it was your job to travel across the country from farm to farm and buy a strip of land to be used for the right-of-way of the railroad, right?
Yes.
Would you mind reading that? That's part of your testimony from the trial.
Me and Hauser tried to explain to Jolly about the good the railroad would do. But before we could get more than a few words out, Jolly pulled out his gun and shouted for us to get the heck off in his land and never to cross it again. I always knew he was dangerous, and I was afraid. Me and Hauser wasn't carrying any guns, and this guy, Jolly, had murder in his eye. So I took off and started to run, and then suddenly I heard a shot. I turned back, and there was Billy Hauser lying there dead. I managed to get out of there fast.
Now, that is your testimony, huh?
Yeah, that's my testimony.
All right, thanks, Hubby. Oh, and you and Bill Hauser out there riding around through the open country. What'd you eat?
Mostly things along the way. Sometimes a farmer'd feed us. Sometimes we build a fire, cook a rabbit, squirrel, something like that.
Rabbits and squirrels. How'd you catch them?
Oh, we didn't catch them. We get close enough most times for a good shot at them.
I don't understand. Me and Hauser wasn't carrying any guns. What'd you shoot them with?
Sometimes we carried guns.
Oh, sometimes?
Well, usually.
Usually? But not when you were going to see a man that you knew that was dangerous? At least that's what you said he was here, dangerous.
I don't know. All I know is on that particular day we wasn't carrying any guns.
Well, why not? That doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
Oh, this is outrageous. This would never be permitted in a court of law. Why, this man Cartwright won't accept the witness answers.
Well, at least he gave you an answer.
Judge, would you accept that answer? Yes, of course you would. You already have accepted it, haven't you? Now, why did you?
Because in a court of law, a witness has the right to give any reasonable answer to a question.
Judge, you're familiar with this country, its ways. Do you really believe that Hobie and his partner traveled around the country unarmed?
Could be true.
Could have been. Well, didn't you question it even once?
I did the best I could.
Judge, Carl Jolly's only hope in that courtroom was you. The record clearly states that he told you time and time again that Hauser was armed, that it was Hauser who drew on him first, and that he had to kill him in self-defense. But you wouldn't listen.
You didn't even ask Hobie the simplest of questions to get at the real truth. But why not, Judge? Because you wanted Carl Jolly to hang? Because, like the rest of the town, you hated him?
No. I despise people who descend to hatred.
Then maybe that's why you've been running away these past few months. Because you're afraid of examining your conscience. Because you were afraid you'd end up despising yourself. But you're going to have to face up to it sooner or later, Judge. Because that's the kind of a man you are. If you weren't, you wouldn't be here today. Or you'd have laughed at Bob Jolly the first time he accused you. Or you'd have had him arrested for disturbing the peace. But you couldn't do it. Because basically, you're what my father says you are. An honest, honorable man.
I would say this has gone just about far enough. Gentlemen, how can we sit here and watch a great public servant hounded and degraded?
No. I suppose I knew it all along, but I just couldn't face it. There were errors in the trial, but I did not know that they were deliberate. Hatred, no. I told myself it was love. Love of the territory, love of the people. I mean, they honored me, they respected me, and they looked up to me, and I dedicated my life to them and their welfare. But why couldn't this man see what a railroad would mean? How couldn't he see, standing on that vital piece of land, heedless of his neighbors, and stopping every bit of progress in the territory, just because he didn't care to change? But he was a human being, and he had a right to live. Perhaps if I'd known more truth about Carl Jolly, he would have deserved to die anyway. But my crime was that I didn't reach beyond enough to find the truth. The people made me their judge. And I tried one of my fellow men, and I failed to give him the full protection of the law. No judge can do a greater wrong.
No, Judge, it wasn't you. It wasn't you who did wrong. Keep your mouth shut, Clinderman. No, I won't. Not any longer. I'm going to tell the truth. I lied in your court. Hauser and me. We was both carrying guns that day. Hauser drew first on Jolly. Jolly had to kill him in self-defense. Senator Prince told us that if we didn't get rid of Carl Jolly, Jolly would block the railroad. This is an outrageous lie. This man is making the whole thing up. Surely you don't take his word over mine.
There will be an investigation, Senator. Not only of my judicial conduct, but of the perjury committed in my court and the procurement of that perjury, which is now charged to you.
Sheriff? You'll never prove anything against me, you doddering old fool. My hands are clean.
Oh, is that why you had Morton, a professional gunman, on your payroll? Maybe now we'll find out who tried to kill Hobie and who paid to have it done.
You'll never prove anything.
Well, we'll certainly try, Senator.
Senator?
Come on, Obi.
I'm sorry, Judge. You will never get away with this. Never.
Come on, Obi.
Thank you, Ben. Will you do something for me? Will you walk out of here with me to show these people that at least in your eyes I'm not a totally evil man?
I'd be proud to, Judge.
I guess there isn't much to say, is there?
I guess not. I'm going to give that land to the railroad, Adam. I think my father would want me to now. It's his way and mine of saying thanks. I won't forget you.
Yeah, and I won't forget you either. A little local color. Bars open, gentlemen.